Welcome to the Gamma Room with your co-host KD Trendsetter Rumble, and you also got DJ Logic here. And then we got a special guest. We'll let DJ Logic go ahead and introduce our guest in the Gamma Room this evening or afternoon or whenever you're listening to this show.
Right. Hey, thank you, there, Katie. Our special guest today is someone that's real special to our organization.
Right.
He was the first national president of Gamma Epsilon Theta when it was reestablished as the Fraternity Brotherhood of Gamma Epsilon Theta Inc. Incorporated. Um, he was the founder and original incorporator of the reestablished organization. He served as president from 1981 to 1998.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a long time until he
Long
retired.
time. A long time. That's an OG
That's an
status out here.
OG. That's
OG
OG.
status. That's what we
Yes,
talking about.
sir. Yes, sir. Until
Yes.
he announced his retirement at the Gamma Conclave in 1998.
Okay.
Uh, During the 30 years anniversary of the Brotherhood. So
Mm.
this guy reincorporated Gamma in 2005. And
Right.
then in 2000, and then in October of 2018, under his guidance, new articles of incorporation were developed and filed with the SEC with an IRS section with a 501c7 designator. This brother was the primary author and the Fraternal Brotherhood Gamma Epsilon Theta Incorporated Constitution and Bylaws, and he served as the first president of the Hampton Roads chapter from 2018 to April 2021.
Mm.
He developed the initial pledge and induction program for the Fraternal Brotherhood of Gamma Epsilon Theta Inc. and served as the dean of induction for the first and second Gamma Renaissance pledge lines in 2018. This brother was awarded Gamma Man of the Year on October 27, 2018, and he was at the 2020 International Conclave awarded the distinguished title of National President Emeritus.
Man, look, you got a lot.
I
Look,
haven't even finished yet. This
that's a
man,
lot
listen.
going on here. Hey, look, I know your bag is going to your nip, belly button.
Hey, listen. He developed the National Pledge and Induction Program Manual, of which this handbook is part of. He currently serves on the National Board of Directors and serves as the chair of the President of Emeritus Council, the chair of the National Governance Committee, and the International Conclave Planning Committee. He is also a member of the Information Technology Committee and the National Nomination Committees. But what makes this man so special?
So
This
special.
is the man that brought me
Mm.
into Gamma Epsilon Theta.
Okay.
So let me
Amen.
introduce to y'all
Well, it's
my
crazy how that
boy,
works. He brought you in, and then you
and I'm
brought me in.
bringing him in.
That's
You,
right.
you see how you see
I'm
that full
bring,
circle?
I'm bringing him out like Steve Harvey, y'all. Let me tell
Hey
you something.
man,
This is my
show your
boy.
love.
This is my homie. This is my
Show your
friend.
love.
This is my assistant coach. Hey, show your love for Mr. Olin, Batman Walden.
Hey, hey, and clap that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
How you doing there, brother O?
I'm doing fine, man. How are you, DJ?
We doing good. I'm doing good over here. Hey, we as you know, we did a episode one podcast, Gamma Room episode one, and we talked about some things, especially the history of Gamma, and a little bit about the history of Gamma and what Gamma Epsilon Theta is all about.
Right.
But it was a lot of unanswered questions and things that we wanted to get into. So it was fitting for us to reach out to you because you are Gamma. In every sense of the word, you
And
the O
again, you
O
are
O
an
O
OG.
O O O O O. He the triple OG,
Yeah,
quadruple
quadruple.
OG of Gamma Epsilon Theta. So we appreciate you taking the time out to sit with us and to be able to further explain and answer some of the questions that we have and that our listener audience may have as well.
My pleasure.
Of course, the episode, the Gamma Room is all about expanding Gamma Epsilon Theta, reaching those that don't know, and being able to get our message and what we do in our community out to the world. So we appreciate you being on. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. My pleasure.
All right.
All right.
Well, we gonna kick it off straight like this here, straight like this here. When and why was Gamba started? Like, I know a lot of people want to know that, and I know you was probably one of the first, people out there on the line. So, I know our audience was like,
Well,
when and why did it start?
now,
Like, what made y'all come up with this beautiful green and blue that is on our chests and on our hats and just being all green and blue. So like I definitely would like to know. I mean I know, but I would like for you to explain it to the audience. Just what made this fraternity start? Like when and where?
okay, you got about four questions there. I'm gonna try to answer all of
Yeah, yeah, just two, the when and why,
them.
just the when and why, and if you want to, again, just go off of what you know, and
No, well, that's good. I'm gonna go off what I know.
okay,
Let me do a little disclaimer first and make sure we all understand where I'm coming from.
okay,
I served on the initial above ground line of the fraternal of Gamma Epsilon Theta at the time.
right,
Now, it was Gamma Epsilon Theta was initially started as a social club at Hampton Institute.
okay,
It was started in 1968. That was the year that it gained its charter at Hampton Institute.
okay,
In 1969, they had their first above ground line. That
mm.
is a line with which I was a part, Premier Image, which
Ooh,
makes sense.
premier,
Premier Image. So that makes
okay,
sense.
all right,
Now, let me go back and digress a little bit as to Gamma Epsilon Theta was started as a social club by members, five members, uh, and those members, some of which were already members of other social clubs and or fraternities.
okay,
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
right. Now
okay.
the
So,
reason,
not to cut you off.
Mhm.
So, they was able. So I guess they were just the five founding fathers, as we like to say.
mhm.
So they was in different fraternities and social clubs, and they just was probably cool people as one, and they just decided to start this fraternity.
Yeah, well, okay, let me make sure we all understand the terminology.
Gotcha.
Social club, social
The
club.
fir-
Social
the the fraternities, well, they're known as Divine Nine now. They were not
club.
Divine Nine back in 1968,
Right.
but
Okay.
there were fraternities, and I'll name a couple of them just so we all know who we're talking about. There was the
Yeah.
Alphas and the
Mm-hmm.
Omegas, so on and so forth. On the sorority side, the AKA and the Deltas. I didn't mention all of them, but just these are names that most people will understand.
Right.
Hmm.
Now, so there were some of the founding members were members of a fraternity.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at the time, most colleges and universities also had what they call social clubs.
Right.
Now, some of them were social, some of them were dealing in particular subject matter, some of them were music clubs, things like that. Social
Mm-hmm.
clubs were they were different from the fraternities, but they had some of the same kind of ideas. What
Okay.
made Gamma different and what made the five founding fathers start Gamma is that Gamma was started with some individual thinkers, some people that didn't want to necessarily be hogtied to fraternal status. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily want to be a fraternity because fraternities had a certain kind of air about them. If you
Hmm.
were a Q, everybody knew you were a Q. You just look
Right.
at me, he's cute. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
if you're an
Right.
alpha, you're an alpha.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
it's just that, and that's how you're known. The founding fathers didn't want that. What they wanted was free thinkers. They wanted people that wanted to do things differently. They wanted to advance, and they were common thinkers. They were all had like minds and thought about doing things for society in a different way than the
Right.
fraternities were doing it. Okay, so
Okay.
that kind of establishes that. Now, the interesting thing about it is that the five founding fathers, most of all, came from Connecticut.
Really?
They were all basically, some of them went to school together. These are guys that were at Hampton at the same time. They grew up in the same area. They went to school together, knew each other, so on and so forth. When they came to Hampton, they even grew together and said, "Hey, look, we want to start this thing." So many of them were just five guys that knew each other and they wanted to do something different. Okay, now
Wow.
that establishes the first five. What a lot of people don't understand about the history of Gamma Epsilon Theta is that there were five founding members, but
Mm-hmm.
then there were also other guys that joined in with them. They were
Okay.
not initially an underground line. There were
Okay.
some guys that just joined into the organization.
Right.
Right.
And from that group of guys, they went on to develop a charter that was eventually approved by Hampton Institute.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to develop that charter that would get through Hampton Institute, they took on an underground line. And that underground line consisted of three people. Only three people pledged any kind of line before Premier Image. But they were
Mm.
underground. They
Wow.
were
Oh,
underground before the charter was adopted. Okay?
Right.
okay.
So
Okay.
we got to understand that history. Okay. Those three people were Maurice Unthink, Lou Nichols, and Leroy Watson. Leroy Watson, right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Maurice Unthink was a this guy was a musician extraordinaire.
Right.
Um, he's gone on. He's gone on to Gamelan.
Right.
Lou Nichols is still with us, and so is Leroy. Leroy is
Okay.
still with us. So if you don't know these guys, you need to get to know them.
Right. Right.
They're still around. Now, of the five founding members, those guys you may not ever meet.
Okay.
They've either gone on to Gamelan or just gone on, and you will probably never meet them. But if you do, let me know because I'd like to meet some of them again myself.
All right.
All right, now,
If you're looking at the park or when they looking at the episode, hey,
yeah,
look,
yeah.
put in the comment. Hey, I'm,
I'm here. I'm here. Right.
I'm here. I'm
Okay.
here.
So let's pick up from there and go forward. As I mentioned, there was an underground line of three. Now, so the underground line of three, they got the charter at Hampton, and in order to have continual lines, they had to have an above ground line. The above
Right.
ground line consisted of 19 members. That was Premier Image. I was one of those 19 members. Now,
Wow. 19.
before I pledged, I was good friends with the man that was president of Gamma Epsilon Theta at the time.
Right.
I was good friends with him because he was a fifth year architecture major when I was in my second year.
Okay.
And he talked to me about Gamma. And he talked to some of the other architecture majors about Gamma. So
Okay.
consequently, on the first line on Premier Image, there were several of us that were architecture majors. Now
Mm.
we had other majors as well, but there were several of us that were architecture. There were at least one, two, three, four, five, six of us that were architecture majors
Okay.
out of the 19. So that tells you a little bit of story. Now the person that was president of the chapter at the time is also the person that designed the shield.
Mm.
Now he designed and drew the shield in Bemis Hall, which is the architecture building at Hampton. I was looking over his shoulder when he designed the shield.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. Wow.
Now
Wow.
here's the deal. I asked him one day about colors, and you mentioned earlier about how we wear these blue and green. I
Yeah.
asked him
So
earlier,
that's actually that's my follow up question. Like,
yeah,
why green? Why did
why blue and green? Right.
Yeah? Why were they chosen? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there is a story out there. I don't know where the story came from, but I've heard it myself and I've never contradicted it because it was out there.
Mm-hmm.
There was a story out there that the initial colors of Gamma Epsilon Theta were so much like the Q colors that we had to find different colors. Now, I have talked to no one that could verify that story. I've heard it, but I can talk to
Okay.
no one that's verified it. I think that story came about because there was at least one member of Gamma Epsilon Theta before our pledge line that was a Q. And that member just happened to be my DP, our DP.
Okay.
So there was some tie to Q. Okay, there was some tie to Omega Psi Phi, but it was only because he was a member of both Omega Psi Phi and Gamma Epsilon Theta, but he was also a Persian rifle.
Oh
Oh
wow.
wow.
So
Now
he was a saint,
he
man.
was he was
Okay.
something, right?
He was a saint.
He is a doctor currently living in Texas, and
Oh, okay.
Wow.
he
Well,
came
shout
up.
out
Yeah, shout out to him. That's
Yeah.
Kenan Harris.
to him. All right.
Now our ADP was also a Persian rifle, and everybody knows the name Loops,
Mm.
Leroy.
Leroy. Now Leroy Loops, and I said Watson earlier. That
Yeah.
the, Leroy Loops Watson is the right name. I said Leroy earlier, and that was wrong. But anyway, I'll correct myself in a minute. Um, Burke, thank you very much. It just came to me. Leroy Burke is the name I should have said earlier, but I said Leroy Watson. So
Okay. Okay.
of the three people that I named that were on the underground line,
Mm-hmm.
Maurice Unthink, Lou Nichols, and Leroy Burke. And
Okay.
I really should not have messed up his name because Leroy is my homeboy. So,
Okay.
but I did. So Leroy,
Yeah,
forgive me.
hey, look, we sometimes I be forgetting some of my homeboys' name. I be like, hey man, what was your name again? But I try to, I cover it up. I just try to. But hey, look, audience,
It
please understand.
happens. It
It happens.
happens. Well, if you ever see the name Leroy Burke III, he's a retired judge down in Savannah, Georgia, and
Mm,
Okay.
he's a great guy. But he's one of the three underground. Uh,
okay.
okay, now I was talking about Charles Price. Charles Price is the name of the gentleman that was the first president of the above ground chapter of Gamma Epsilon Theta. He was the president when Premier Image came online. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Charles Price is currently residing in Roanoke, Virginia. Still to this day, a very dear friend of mine. As a matter of fact, I talked with him last night,
Okay.
and his wife is was a sweetheart of ours, and more so a
Okay.
sweetheart of his because he ended up marrying her. But
Right. Right.
she was a Sigma. So which our sister organization, Sigma Gamma Nu. So she was a
Okay.
member of Sigma. Now, um, so when the line went over in 1969, the 19 of us that were on that line, when we went over, we were different because we weren't like the other lines. Who are these guys? There
Right.
were a couple of other organizations that were social clubs at the time. As a matter of fact, IOTAs were a social club at the time. They are now a fraternity. I believe IOTAs is the last of the social club kind of
Yes.
organizations that joined the divine. I think they made number nine. If unless I'm
Yes, they
mistaken,
did make number
yeah,
nine.
they made
Yes.
they made number nine. Now, some of the other groups that were there were the Olympics, the Pics.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, um, Groove Fi Groove. Some of you might know the Grooves. Groove
I've
Fi
heard
Groove was a
about.
strong
I've heard
organization.
of them. Yeah, I've heard of them.
They were
Yeah.
a strong organization at the time. And if you think about, listen to the name, Groove Fi Groove. And we're
Yeah.
talking 1968,
Yeah.
69,
Yeah.
70,
Yeah.
Groove Fi Groove. So they
Right.
were
Right.
a strong organization as well. And there were others, but those were the main ones. So,
Okay.
so what happened after that is that we went for several years um, operating as Gamma Epsilon Theta, a social club. But we wanted to expand. So we expanded. We went to Norfolk State. We went to Howard, University of Maryland. We went to these other schools. We went to St. Paul. We went to other schools. We didn't develop a chapter at St. Paul, but we did the other schools that I named because we were trying to grow. Okay. And we grew and we grew and we had new members to come in. And all of those new members were like minded people like we were. We did things that were beneficial to the community. We did things that were beneficial to ourselves because at the time we were called a social club, but we were also athletic. So we had like a softball team and we did other things like that. And we
Mm.
would go out and have social events, but we did not do it at the expense of having fun. Now, we would have
Oh,
some fun.
right,
And that's
right.
one thing, we going to have fun.
As a fraternity should.
And right, we're
As
going to
a
have fun,
fraternity
but we're
should.
not to the expense of service, but we're not going to do service at the expense of having fun.
Oh,
And
okay.
we've always been an organization that welcomed the women in our lives. So
Right.
if there was a wife, if there was a girlfriend, a significant other, then we welcome them as well. So we have a tendency to call ourselves like a family organization, and that's a long answer to several short
Yeah,
questions that you had.
right, right. I mean, well, since you because you've answered a lot, but I really want you to touch on like what made you want to be a gamma man? Like what was like that thing that made you look at Gamma and be like, I want to be a part of that? Instead of, I know you say you looked over homeboy's shoulder when you
Oh yeah.
uh seen him write everything up, but I mean, besides that, like I can imagine back in that time, you seeing a group of people in college at Hampton Institute, and you see a group of brothers, and you like, like that look cool. So
Well, that and also with all the other social clubs and all the other fraternities and things out there, what drew you away from those, if I can use the word away from them, and drew you closer
yeah,
to wanting to do gamma and be gamma instead of one of the
yeah,
others?
yeah, because I'm sure like again, like no disrespect to the Qs or the Alphas or any of those fraternities, like I'm sure that would have probably been more attractive. But again, you chose Gamma, so it was like okay, you
Well,
know,
I'm going to answer that question like this. I
okay,
chose Gamma and Gamma chose me. Um,
nice,
if you
I like that.
you might understand it particularly if
I
you
I, I understand what you just said.
right,
I
right,
definitely understand what you said.
right,
You're right.
right. You remember I was saying how the brothers want to think differently, want to do things differently. We didn't just want to get stuck in a certain kind of demographic, a certain kind of way of you look at a guy and you know who he is automatically.
Right,
We wanted to be who we are as individuals, but to operate within a framework of an organization of individuals
right,
Right.
that operated as a group. So this is what Gamma was established as. As a matter of fact, I was told by many of the older brothers
hmm
and founding fathers
hmm
that the reason for doing this was so we would in fact be different. So we could in fact be individuals. So we could in fact stand out as an individual in a group of brothers. And we
right,
can stand out and you can look at us and you couldn't just tell, well, he's a Q or he's a Kappa. We could be any of those things. But we
Right.
are in fact gammas because we chose to
Right.
be gammas. Gammas chose us to be gammas. And there's
So
go
right.
ahead.
I have a question that is not on our list, but just thinking, how was Gamma accepted on the campus at the time by the other fraternities and social clubs out there? How were you guys? Were you guys welcome, or were you guys looked at as like outcast, or you know, the baloney of fraternities? You know what I'm saying, or the hot dogs of fraternities?
Not
How
at
were you
all.
guys accepted?
We
Okay.
were very well accepted. There wasn't a time in my experience that we ever were perceived as being an organization that would not be accepted. And we drove ourselves and conducted ourselves in a manner that we knew who we were, we knew what we wanted to do, and we charged forth and did that, no matter what anybody else thought. Anyway, that
Right.
we weren't caring about what anybody else thought,
Right.
but we
Right.
didn't have the experience where we were rejected, and that's beautiful. And I can say part of that had to do, well, a couple of things, but part of that had to do with the fact that the other organizations knew that there were members of Gamma that were frat brothers, and they
Right.
also knew that was a good thing. And we also knew that we had a sorority attached of
Okay.
beautiful black women,
That
and
always helps. That always
oh, that
helps.
always helped. As a matter of fact, one of our Sigma sisters was Miss Hampton. Well, no, excuse me, two of our sisters were Miss Hampton uh,
Oh,
at the time.
Yeah, there you
Oh yeah,
go.
there you
yeah.
go.
And we just had a beautiful relationship with them, and they with us, and we were well accepted.
So you really didn't. You started talking about the blue and green and why those colors were shows, but I don't think you ever said why. I know we said we wanted to be different from, or our original colors was closer to Q's, but why was or the Omegas? Why was it green and blue chose exactly?
I I asked that question myself, of
Okay,
Charles Price, who's
Price.
no, he was my president when we pledged. I asked that question of Charles, and that's the same person that designed and drew the shield.
Right.
Charles' recollection is that one of the members of Gamma that was before the first underground line,
Hmm.
Pancho. You may have heard that name. If you haven't, you'll hear it again now that you've heard it.
Right.
Pancho, if you look back in the yearbook, 1960, 1970, I think, yearbook, you will see Pancho's picture on the page. Um, One of the best guys in the world. Just everybody loved him. Charles said that Pancho is responsible for coming up with the colors blue and green because we wanted colors that were unlike anybody else's.
Okay.
That's why this story that I've heard in the background about we were originally close to the Omega colors and all this kind of stuff, I haven't found no validity to that story. But what I have been told by the person that was in the room when it happened is that he believes that Pancho was the one that ultimately came up with the blue and green. Now, he did say to me that there were several different shades of blue and green.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was like a navy blue. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
there were, but we're not a navy blue.
No.
We
No.
are a royal blue
Royal.
and
Mm-hmm.
Kelly green.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it took them a while to agree on those colors. But that's the colors that were agreed upon after determining that we wanted colors that nobody else had.
Right.
The combination of colors that nobody else had. And
Right.
if you think about it, a royal blue and a Kelly green are two beautiful colors together.
They are.
That's
They
what,
are.
and
Look
that's
very bright, vibrant to me.
now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you one other interesting thing about this. I don't know that you guys have picked up on this yet,
Hmm.
but I'm going to share it with you right now about the colors blue and green.
Okay.
You're familiar with the shield, are you not?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all righty. Tell me the outside color of the shield, and then tell me the inside color of the shield.
The outside color is green. The inside color is blue.
Okay, now if you look at the original sketch of the gamma shield,
Hmm.
you will see all of the details, all of the dimensional details, everything very, very intricate. All the details of the shield are on it, all the colors, all the everything, except one thing. And
What is
that
it?
thing is nowhere on the original shield does it say that the outside color is green and the inside color is blue. Nowhere. Nowhere.
Wow.
Wow.
Now, I'm gonna tell you,
Okay.
the reason I brought that up is because, and I talked with Charles about this too. Here's a guy that drew it up and wrote all the details and everything on it. Nowhere does it say that. But the reason I brought it up is because there was a time in Gamma history that it was reversed.
Oh.
There was a time
Okay.
in Gamma history, if you can do the research and find it, and I'm sure, probably, I'm not sure, but I would assume that Mike Borum probably somewhere has that, because Mike is the Gamma historian, and he has
Mm-hmm.
most of the information on those
Right.
kinds of things. If he doesn't have it, I probably have it packed away somewhere. But there was a period in which the colors were reversed. It was blue on the outside, green on the inside.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That was totally rejected at the time that well, actually before the time, but at the time that we went from Gamma Epsilon Theta to the Fraternal Brotherhood of Gamma Epsilon Theta, we
Mm-hmm.
had determined that the colors were as they are now: green on the outside, blue on the inside, which is the best combination.
Yeah,
I
I like it.
Yeah.
I think so.
Uh, it goes with the green and blue.
Yeah.
It don't go with the blue and green. It's green and blue.
Yeah.
So, oh, that's awesome. This is definitely good conversation. Um, we've discussed a lot when it comes to the history, the campus of Hampton Institute, the founding brothers. But there's a dark period in Gamma Epsilon Theta history where we basically did go dark. Would you like to just give us a little bit of information in your opinion? I mean, maybe if you got facts to share with us why Gamma Epsilon Theta lay dormant for this long period of time.
Yeah, I will share both facts and opinion.
Okay.
Okay. There was a period after we had established all 5 chapters of Gamma Epsilon Theta, across the other organization, across the other college campuses.
Hmm.
And right now I can't recall the actual date. Um, I can go back and I can recall it happening like it was yesterday, but I can't give you the actual date. But at the time, Hampton Institute had a director of social affairs, and that wasn't her actual title. It was director of whatever, but she was the one who was responsible for social clubs and fraternities on campus.
Okay.
I don't know whether she did this on her own or whether she was directed by the trustees or by the administration, but it was decided very quickly, without giving us fair warning, that social clubs would no longer be at Hampton Institute.
Wow.
They
Wow.
just they just shut us off. One day they walked into the grill, took down all of the shields, and that's why. And I saved our shield, and that's why the official shield of Gamma Epsilon Theta that is now in Maryland, because it's kept there because he can maintain the shield pretty much better than anybody else. Lewis can.
Hmm.
That
Okay.
shield is the original Gamma shield that hung in the grill with the other original shields at Hampton. And that shield was taken down along with everybody else's. So they just said, okay, there will be no more social clubs at Hampton Institute. We will only have fraternities and sororities. Well, when
Wow.
that happened, that meant that we were no longer active. We couldn't do anything on campus. So
Mm-hmm.
our support of the other chapters at other colleges and universities where they were still functioning or could
Mm-hmm.
function, but not with the help that they could have received from us at Hampton,
Hmm.
the original chartered chapter of Gamma Epsilon Theta. So
Hmm.
for many years there wasn't that support from Alpha chapter to Beta, Delta, and so on and so forth, the other
Hmm.
chapters.
Right.
And those chapters did not grow exponentially as they could have with our assistance, because it looked like Gamma had died. Alpha chapter
So
just died, and it looked
right.
like that
So
was it.
so it's like mom and dad left the house, and now the kids have nobody to raise them.
There you go. That's
Wow.
Okay.
pretty much what happened. Now, what we did do is, on campus or not, we decided as brothers that love one another, that think alike, that want to do things differently, we decided to stay together. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why in the introduction, you will see that years later, Gamma still existed. It just wasn't growing because at the time we had not made the decision, because we could not get back on Hampton's campus to draw from Hampton University students. We had not made the decision to go outside of the campus to bring on members.
Right.
And it wasn't until later, it wasn't technically, it was not later, it was after I retired at the 30th anniversary. And I asked the fraternity if they would name my vice president at the time, Michael Borum, to be president. And he was immediately voted in at the 30th anniversary. And after that, there was a gentleman that had worked with us at homecomings and setting up affairs and all this kind of stuff. That happened to be somebody that worked with Mike at his job, and it was Mike and Mike,
Hmm.
Mike Dabney.
who we call, yeah, Mike Dabney, who we call Little Mike.
Little
Yeah.
Well,
Mike.
Little Mike came on, and I named him Prodigy
That's
because
right. That's a good name for him.
I could see Mike I could see Mike just as clear as day. I said Mike is
Mm-hmm.
Prodigy, and
Right.
Mike came in, and when Mike came in, we knew that we could do what we just did. We knew that we could bring somebody that didn't have a university. They weren't that was not active in a university
Right.
that could become a member of Gamma. Now, I don't want to uh, negate this at all. So I'm going to tell you, I'm not trying to skip over uh, Evans Van. Y'all,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
Van? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now Van um, worked with Mike, and at a time they had a company when I had my architectural firm. They also had a company, and they worked together also. And Mike asked Van to come on, so Van came on as a member, and then Prodigy came on as a member, and then later on, and I'm just giving you fact. These are all facts now. Then later on, Father Time,
Mm-hmm.
okay, Tim Williams, Tim Williams,
Shout out Father Time,
shout
baby.
out Father Time. Father Time said to Mike, "Hey, look, just simple words, Mike. We can't let this die. That's all it took." From then on, it was it was running forward, and it was and that's when the Renaissance came. When we decided that we're going to go forward with this whole new philosophy of bringing in members from outside of college and university, and because we are like-minded men, you don't have to have gone to college to be a like-minded man. You don't have to have
Facts.
gone be active in a college or a university to be a gamma. Now, if
Facts.
as we all know, if you look at our constitution allows both.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So at any time, we could go back on any campus that would accept us, provided we do whatever they require, and we could start a chapter. But at the same time, we have the ability to bring in people that are outside of colleges and universities, and that's how we got started later on. And it was only because Mike had the wherewithal to talk with a couple of people that he knew, Van and Mike.
Mm-hmm.
They accepted to join. We knew we could do it. We're going to expound on it. Father Time said, don't let it die. Boom, it happened. And then we started a whole new thing. Now,
Oh my God. I
Oh,
got you,
yeah.
dude. Hold. Let's hold this right quick. Hold it. Hold it. Dude, this I got
you gotta get yourself together after all that
yo,
information, right?
I'm gonna tell you why though. I'm gonna tell you why.
Right. Right.
I literally got chill bumps,
Yeah.
right? Because if you think, because these are people that we know.
You
These ain't
Yeah.
know.
the five founders brothers. These ain't the Hampton 1960, 1968,
68,
69
69.
crew.
Nah.
These are people that we interact with on a daily basis,
Correct.
and this is information that we did not know about them. and I got goosebumps because I look up to both of those men, Mike and Mike. Those are two dudes that that we look up to. We reach out to them, a lot,
A lot.
That's
a
right.
lot.
That's right.
And one is very reserved and laid back, and you would never think that he was part of the catalyst for the rebirth or the reinsurgence, so to speak.
Exactly.
That is actually awesome to hear, man. That is awesome to hear. But
Well,
let's take a
hold on.
quick.
We gotta do a shameless plug since we here.
Got to,
Okay.
got to,
Shameless plug. I
got
mean,
to.
we got an event coming
Yes,
February
sir.
2nd. Buffalo Wild Wings. If you want to become a Gamma man, like come on down, check us out. And
Yep.
Please do.
yeah,
That meet and greet. We're gonna link the flyer right here.
yep,
Like you said, Buffalo Wild Wings, 6 to 8. We ask that you try to be on time because we kind of, we got a certain amount of time to really be able to engage you personally. Especially those of you that have questions and really interested about becoming part of this fraternity. Please come between 6 to 8. Buffalo Wild Wings, February 22nd. We'll see you there. Okay.
Did you give the location of the Buffalo Wild Wings?
Oh,
well, that's on the flyer, but
it'll be on the
it's
flyer
Buffalo Wild Wings in Chesapeake,
Hmm.
off
off
of
of Greenbrier.
Off of Greenbrier. So
Yeah,
if y'all make sure y'all check out the Buffalo Wild Wings in Greenbrier.
right, right, right.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
But
Got to get it in.
Yeah,
back
gotta
to
put
what we
that
were
plug
saying
in.
though, man. Dude, that just gave me goosebumps because
Yeah, like I'm just saying,
man,
dude. I'm like, man, like, woo,
this is the
make you
this
want
is
to get up and want to go do something positive.
right, because this is the feeling you got when you cross and you started really dealing with some of the brothers that was putting in that work.
Right,
You got that. Oh man, we are like minded, and you got that goosebump. Like, yo, I can do this with my brother. I can do this with him. No, he got the same mind as me. He's thinking like me. And one of our shout out to our DI, Mufasa Harun brother. This is something that he's instilled in both me and KD. It's
right,
the fact, it's the that putting in that work and being that one mindedness with our brothers. So
Right.
hearing Mike and Mike and Van, and that whole push that we can do something. That's crazy. It ain't like that was 500 years ago, bro. That was
no,
just like
it was just recently.
that was
Yeah.
yesterday. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah, it was just
bro?
so it
And
just
that's awesome.
make you want to just, hey, look, we could be a bigger, stronger. That's just
Yeah,
how I feel.
that's
We
it.
we
That's
can
Keep
it.
on,
come
keep
this
you.
side.
You guys just keep on doing what you're doing, and we got your back all the way.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Got a couple more questions for you, Mr. Olin there. So you just say keep going, keep doing what we doing, man. And I know we out here, we pushing it, and we're pushing the Gamma brand, so to speak. We're pushing Gamma into the future,
Yes.
trying to bring about those to take one day, eventually, God forbid, anytime soon. But the big Batman place one day. The things that you've given to this organization and done for this organization over your time. That may be me sitting there one day, or maybe KD sitting there one day. So we need to bring people in that can possibly come in and do what we do, take our place, and
Absolutely.
continue to push this fraternity forward. So, in your opinion, or right now, sitting where you sit, how do you think we continue? How do we continue to move this fraternity forward?
The main thing that I believe that's going to take this fraternity forward is exactly what you're doing. You're making use of the most current means of communication. Whether it's a podcast, whether it's old school website, whether it's whatever it is. I mean, social media is where things are going, where things are
Hmm.
actually. So
Hmm.
social media is one thing. The other thing is being true to Gamma. If you're true to Gamma, if you're true to Gamma in your heart, and you want to be a uh, a catalyst for good amongst men and amongst the public in your community, then it's just going to come naturally to you. I
Right.
believe that. I truly believe that. I mean, everything that I've done for Gamma and with Gamma has come naturally to me because I love Gamma with all my heart and soul. I just do.
Hmm.
And it's not because I'm old school. It's just because I'm Gamma. I chose
Hmm.
Gamma. Gamma chose me. That's who I am. That's the way I want to be, and that's the way it's gonna be until I go to Gamma Land.
DIE.
That's right. It's as simple as that. So if you keep on loving the organization, keep on pushing the ideals, the morals, even the conduct, the code of conduct, the mission, the purpose of the organization. If you do that, all these things are just going to come natural to you. You're just going to just continue to come up with new ideas and ways to expand the organization and keep on bringing in new people with new ideas and be open to those new ideas.
Right.
Be,
Right.
I'm an old school guy, but I'm open to new ideas. Um,
Right.
my favorite saying in life is I don't know if you've ever heard me say this, but I'm gonna tell you now. The only thing constant in life is change.
Right.
The only thing constant in life is change. And if you're
Right.
not willing to change, then you're going to die,
Right.
Right.
whatever it is. So you have to be
In a
willing
world.
to accept change and deal with change and grow with change. So
Hmm.
that's my answer to that question. That's
Okay.
So if you got somebody that and I am a product of Olin Walden. You found me out there. I was not looking for Gamma. Apparently, Gamma was looking for me.
right. Right. That's
So
right.
I'm a product. But you got somebody out there that may be looking. Um, a lot of people that we've talked to here recently have been, they have said, man, I don't know much about Gamma, but I'm looking for that brotherhood, man. I'm
Mm-hmm.
missing that bond.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody walk up to Mr. Olin and they say, hey, can you talk to me? Why should I join Gamma?
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell them?
Okay. I will tell them what I try to tell most of the people I talk to, and maybe DJ, you can attest to this. But if you're looking for an organization that you can be a part of, that you can use your gifts and talents, that you can feel comfortable doing that and sharing that with other men for the benefit of humanity or of mankind,
Mm-hmm.
feel comfortable in doing sharing your gifts and talents. Okay, and
Right.
sharing it and growing an organization as well as it is improving the lives of people in your community, then this is the organization for you. Now, this is if you're looking. Now, not everybody's looking, just like DJ said he
Right.
wasn't looking, right?
Right.
But if you see somebody, see, this is what I
I think that's the harder one.
this is the
Yeah,
thing.
I think that's
You
definitely
look, no, look. Just look at here lately, particularly here lately. Um, people that I run into, just an HVAC guy, a guy that fixes my refrigerator, a guy that towed my car, a guy that goes to my church, a guy, it's just you look at them and you see something in these people, you know, and what I have found many times that once you talk to them, you'll find out that they're not just fixing your refrigerator, they're not just towing your car, they're not just doing this. They own real estate. They own two or three businesses. They will say things to you like, I'm involved in so many things, I'm just too busy for this. Haven't you heard that before, DJ?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm
sir.
just, I'm just, I'm involved in so many things. I can't take on one more thing. And I say to them,
Yep.
yes, you can. Yes, you
Yep.
can.
yeah.
Come check us out. Just check us out. I give them my card. That's what I do. I'll give them a Gamma
Yeah.
card. I
I
say,
still got
here
your
you go.
card.
That's
Yep.
right.
Still got your card.
Just take the time. Just look at the website. If nothing else, just it's not going to hurt anything. Take the time, look at the website.
Right.
And it's
Word,
easy
man.
thing to do.
Yeah.
Just do that. I wish more brothers had cards, and more brothers are getting them. But
Hmm.
I know cards are old school, but it's an easy thing to do. or just
Hmm.
have it on your phone and just go up to
Yeah.
somebody and say, "Hey, look, scan this and go
Right.
check it out." And just do
Right.
it, and you will find that brothers will surprise you, and
Yeah, man.
pleasantly surprise you. So another long answer to a short question.
Oh, no.
Hey, lovely answer though, because it those are truths, and like I said earlier, and I'm gonna always continue to say, when Gamma found me, I was busy. At least I thought I was.
Uh-huh.
I know had a lot going on, but it's just like anything in life. If something that you want,
If you want.
um, if you want it, you'll make a way to get it, and
Hmm.
that shows you that's the type of brothers that we want in Gamma. Those
Right.
that are dedicated to for this cause. Now, Gamma doesn't take over my life,
Mm-mm.
but it is a part of my life. So
Yeah.
Right.
we
Just
make
get
time to
brothers.
do what we do.
Yeah, not meaning to cut across you, but just get brothers to understand that when you join Gamma, we're not trying to take away from anything that you're doing.
No,
Matter of fact, do all that you're doing and more.
Right.
yes,
And Gamma is just another way that you can do more. And don't think you
yep,
can't do it because you can do it.
right,
Right.
You can do it.
right.
This
Just like
this
we said on the episode one,
Yeah.
the reason why is because I'm able to do what I do with more people
with more
that
people.
think like me,
Yes, sir.
that's trying to do the same thing I'm doing.
Got some support.
Amplified. I just get amplified. That's
Yeah,
pretty.
it gets amplified.
I
So
I love that. I love that amplified.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah, man, that's what's up. Hey, a couple of other shout outs real quickly, man. This is the Gamma Room, so we do like to take the time towards sometime this area of the meeting to talk about um, some of our sick brothers right now. So just want to give a shout out and keep them in prayer. My line brother, Grandstand, Omega, please keep him in your prayers. Father Time,
Always,
always keep Father Time in our
always.
prayers, y'all.
Wait.
Y'all got anybody out there that we don't know about?
Yeah, I mentioned this on our meeting a couple of meetings ago. We have a brother, Melvin Glover. His name is Rosmel. He's known as Rosmel. He played with the Whalers. He is still currently playing guitar. He lives in Richmond. But our brother was given 5 months to live back in last April, and
Mm,
he's still hanging in there, and he's
amen.
still he's still out performing. But I love that man. When I was on campus, I had an apartment off campus, and he used to live with me. We've always been very close. As a matter of fact, my birthday is January 11th. His birthday is January 12th,
Oh,
and we are
Okay.
close in many ways. But I always like to keep him in my prayers and in the minds of the brothers. You guys don't know him, but you'll get to know him. I promised him that the next conclave, if we're gonna have it in Richmond, or the next convention, I will bring him, and so some of you all might get to meet him. Okay, but keep
Word.
him in your
Okay.
prayers.
Will do. Will do.
That's
I got a
prostate
question for
cancer.
you real quick. Oh Lord. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha. I do have a question, Olin.
yeah.
What do you think? Do you think Mr. Charles will be able to come to the gamma room one day? You think he's down with that?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, GJ, you and I think alike a lot of the time. I have already talked with Charles and told Charles. I said, Charles, I said we're doing the podcast now. We're trying to get the approval from national so we can make this a regular thing. Not just local, but national. Um, National support. I said, but you really should be on the podcast. Would you be willing to do that? His answer is yes. Now, his
right.
answer is yes. I told him I was going to be on today, and he said, "Well, he couldn't join us today." I said, "But yeah." But he said he would. Now, there is one little caveat, and he tells me this all the time. He said, "Olden, older now. My memory isn't as good as it used to be." but
Man,
he's an
but
interesting.
it's just the presence of coming up here, and
Yeah,
we just having a pleasant conversation. We could talk about anything,
anything. Yeah,
Anything.
anything you want.
Just just the fact that he'll be here is historical for this generation of gamma men. and our future generations of Gamma men.
Yeah.
Um, that would be historic and something we would greatly welcome here in the Gamma Room.
I
Um,
told him
so
when I told him that
yeah,
when you guys have gotten to the point that you were ready to invite him, I would make sure that he gets that invitation and make sure that his schedule is cleared, in order to
hmm
do that. Like I
I mean,
mentioned earlier, he's out in Roanoke and doesn't make any difference where he is, just like right now.
right, right, right,
But
yeah,
he'd be willing
and
to
again,
do
this
that.
is an open invitation to all Gamma.
Oh,
This is
good,
yeah,
this is how we gonna kick it off. I
good,
mean,
right, right,
and
good.
we want to express that to very clearly. Like this is an open invitation to come on the Gamma Room episodes, and we would definitely cater to whoever wants to talk. It could
hmm
be this in this setting, or we could all come together. It
right,
doesn't.
Okay, that's
But
great.
right,
that's the purpose of, again, how we was talking about bridging the gap to social media now and making it. Again, this is like another history book.
Yep.
hmm
For Gamma. So that's what we want to do as far as this Gamma Room and these episodes. So it's always something that we can always go back to say I could reference to this episode or that
hmm
episode.
Yep.
Just
Well, I
again,
would I would highly recommend not only Charles but Leroy Burke the third, Judge
Okay.
Leroy Burke the third that I just mentioned earlier, and I'd also recommend. I don't know if you all know of. Oh gosh, I'm showing my age now. That his name just escaped me. It'll come back in a minute. Um, Delano Maxim. That's not one of the persons I would recommend. Delano is down in Atlanta. Delano
okay,
pledged with me. Um, you all may have met him at some point in time. If not, Delano's a great guy. I'm sure he would love to be on. Um, and and God, name just drew a blank. It'll come back to me in a little bit. But there is at least one other person that I would love for you all to interview. His wife at the time wrote the history of Gamma Epsilon Theta at the time.
okay,
Oh,
So, and he fed most of that information to her.
mm,
Um, and I will make sure that you receive the information on him. He would be a good interview, I truly believe.
okay.
He is currently not active, but that might encourage him to be more active. We want
Okay.
we want to try to do that because he's down in the Atlanta area. We have a lot of brothers in the Atlanta area.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of
Okay.
brothers that are already there. So be good.
Right,
I
right.
mean, all Gamma is welcome
Yeah,
on the episode.
Yes.
So
Yes. And
yeah,
and hopefully and that's why we want these to get out. That's why we do what we do.
yeah.
Brother Olin Walden, man, we appreciate you coming to the room today.
yes,
You are a legend to us.
hand claps. Let's
Well,
put that in there.
You
Yes,
thank you.
are
Well, thank you.
yes,
definitely a legend to us. I appreciate you. I love you as my brother. Um,
I love you
and
both, man.
the information that you gave us today, we clearing up some of the thoughts and ideas and connotations out there that we as brothers actually have for Gamma Epsilon Theta. Thank you for taking your time to answer those questions, clear up some of this information, being entertaining, and
yeah.
giving us recommendations. Just to let y'all know, this is our first guest, and it's funny because he's from the first above ground
That's right.
line premiere image,
Premier
and
image.
he's also the first national president of Gamma Fraternity Brotherhood of Gamma Epsilon Theta Incorporated.
Yep.
So this guy is once again a very important person to this organization, a very special person to this organization. So we thank you, we appreciate you.
Definitely appreciate
Once again, we love you, and we hope that you have a great day, a great week, and KD, you got anything for
Well, I mean, we could if we ended the episode off of that. I mean, that
him?
again. And just for future references, again, if anybody would like to come on, you can
Yeah.
reach out to anybody. You could get with either me, DJ, uh,
Yeah.
and we could definitely schedule episodes. That's the
Yeah.
purpose of this. The future youth.
Speaking of, we have Mike Borum for episode 3. He will be our second guest.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
what's crazy
Absolutely.
is we
Yeah, I mean,
got the first president on the first episode. We got the second president on the second
yeah,
episode. So
Absolutely.
this is gonna be
Absolutely.
awesome.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yes.
yeah.
So
We gonna
Well,
yes.
definitely make sure everybody get they say so.
well,
Let's just
gentlemen,
say, Olin, you get up here, you just
Yeah.
spit that game like the game need to be.
Yeah, man. Goosebumps, man.
Yes,
hey,
sir. And
hey
you get
man,
your flowers too. You get your flowers.
well,
Yes,
listen,
sir.
I humbly accept all of what you give me.
Yes,
I love it. I love being here. It was my pleasure being here, and I'm in full support of your activities. And if you have any questions, any comments, any whatever, you know how to get in contact with me. I'm easy to catch up with. So love you
Yes,
guys.
sir.